And still with you, Angela, and Bronte mentioned it just a second ago, further comments this week about the royal family being very welcome at the Invictus Games next year. Obviously, it is in the UK. Is this all part of this attempt to all head in the same direction?
On The Daily Show, Jon Stewart took a thoughtful pause to explore how public figures respond when accountability comes knocking, and in that moment he unexpectedly brought Meghan Markle back into the spotlight as recently resurfaced footage began. Making waves online, the clip showed her in close proximity to Prince Andrew aboard a private yacht, and while the video dated back several years, its timing and content sparked instant controversy. Stewart clarified his point by saying this isn't about left or right, it's about whether those who claim to stand for transparency are willing to be transparent when it's inconvenient. Although the entire segment didn't revolve around Meghan, his words hit home and social media lit up with debate. The video continued to spread rapidly in early July, adding another layer of complexity to an already polarizing public figure.
Sato and Meghan's rosé has dropped. The feedback has been thick and fast. What have we heard?
Well, like all things that Meghan puts out there, you know, it's divided the crowd. So this rosé was first teased a couple of weeks back. It's finally dropped as expected. It's sold out because everything that she's put up on As Ever so far.
In the background of the resurfaced video, Prince Andrew is also clearly visible. While there's no claim of any inappropriate behavior in the clip, the visual alone has sparked discussion, mainly because both Meghan and Andrew have spent recent years shaping tightly controlled public images, often centered on personal values, charitable efforts, and a deliberate step back from royal life. Online reactions have been split. Some say the footage is being taken out of context and blown out of proportion, while others argue it exposes the gap between public messaging and private choices, especially when those involved often present themselves as moral voices. What truly pushed this otherwise quiet clip into public conversation was Jon Stewart's mention of it during his July 9th episode. With his signature deadpan tone, he quipped, "Sometimes it feels like the more someone tells you they're fighting injustice, the more they're just rearranging the furniture on their own yacht." He didn't name names, but the message landed, and audiences across social media immediately picked it up. Though Stewart's show is rooted in satire, his way of tying humor to accountability is a big reason he continues to resonate, especially with younger audiences hungry for truth told. With a side of wit. Ask ChatGPT.
That's what I'm saying, that none of this actually makes sense. It's all PR for the award show, the charity. It's all just orchestrated to elevate the cause, which she goes, well, great, I get another plaque or trophy on the mantle in the
This isn't the first time Jon Stewart has weighed in on royal-related topics. Earlier this year, he took aim at the performative side of celebrity philanthropy, pointing out how causes linked to fame often seem more focused on appearance than actual impact. In this instance, the yacht footage wasn't exactly scandalous. It simply became one of those moments where the cracks between public image and private reality felt visible, especially to audiences already skeptical of celebrity. Activism. Meghan Markle has remained a divisive figure in the public eye. Since stepping away from royal duties alongside Prince Harry, she's launched multiple media projects, including a Netflix docuseries, a podcast, and even a children's book. She's been vocal about mental health and personal growth, but reactions to her efforts continue to vary. Ask ChatGPT.
Mental health.
Exactly right. And she's not going to get any awards for Confessions of a Female Founder either, her latest flop podcast series. This collecting of these ludicrous awards, it seems to be a hobby of Meghan.
Meghan has often spoken out on issues like gender equity and racism, but critics continue to highlight gaps between her public messaging and private associations, raising eyebrows over the people she surrounds herself with and the projects she chooses to back. According to media archivists, the now viral footage was taken at a private social gathering in the Gulf region, well before Meghan joined the royal family. The event was attended by multiple public figures, and there's no indication that Meghan and Prince Andrew were there together or had any kind of joint involvement. Still, the optics, especially when contrasted with Meghan's current public persona, have stirred a fresh wave of criticism. with many questioning the consistency of her narrative. Jon Stewart didn't linger long on the video during his show, but true to form, he closed the segment with a pointed question that left the audience thinking.
Just a PR strategy. They're trying to win the room. I think it's the same with the HRH. The way Meghan secretly sent Jamie Kerlima a gift basket with a signed note that said the compliments of HRH, Duchess of Sussex, Meghan. You know,
Leadership doesn't mean much if it only shows up when the cameras do. That closing line, though general, captured the tone Jon Stewart has carried throughout his recent return to The Daily Show, a run marked by sharp critiques aimed at public figures across the board. In this case, it wasn't the length of the segment or any direct accusation that caused a stir, but rather the weight of what was left unsaid. Neither Meghan nor Prince Andrew has issued a statement, and major news outlets haven't picked up the story with any significant follow-up. For now, the conversation lives primarily on social media, fueled by memes, commentary threads, and short clips of Stewart's signature delivery. Whether it turns into something bigger has less to do with the video itself and more with how the public chooses to interpret it.
High-profile people, because Meghan is the ultimate networker. I mean, she networked her way to a prince of a husband, and I think that, you know, she uses these opportunities to meet new people, and it's under great circumstances because she's getting a round of applause in that room.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it's about whether the public sees this as part of a broader pattern. The footage itself wasn't dramatic. There was no outrageous behavior or headline-worthy scandal, but the context said more than enough. Jon Stewart, known for cutting through polished PR and political spin, understood the weight of the moment. He didn't need to shout, just a well-timed line delivered with precision was enough to shift the tone. For Meghan, the reaction was swift. The image she had so carefully built over years through media moves, personal branding, and a post-royal narrative suddenly felt shaken. The clip may have been quiet, but it couldn't be ignored. Meghan looked at ease, informal, even oddly familiar in the company of Prince Andrew, and the visual alone spoke volumes.
It's Diana, and I think he sympathized with Prince Harry because he lost his mother early on. That doesn't justify a nomination or a win for Legend of Aviation. Okay, Travolta, love you in Greece, but we've got to stop this. This is where we stop.
Yeah, Saturday Night Fever, you are pretty damn good in that.
Prince Andrew's past remains one of the most divisive topics in the royal family's recent history. The moment in question appears to have taken place aboard a private yacht in the Middle East, likely Dubai, a place known for hosting high-profile gatherings far from the eyes of the press. There were no banners, no official functions, just quiet conversations, close proximity, and a setting that clashed with the carefully crafted public images both he and Meghan have spent years building. Jon Stewart didn't need to sensationalize it. The footage already carried weight, but his calm, deliberate delivery turned it into something far more difficult to ignore.
On the street from Senabale, who complains that she has children that need help, and Senabale and Prince Harry weren't there to help her children. That's what I think of when I think of an underserved community.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. Let's just briefly talk about Prince Harry. As I said, you were very kind to be
Without any theatrics, Jon Stewart paused during his monologue, played the clip, and offered a single, cutting line. This isn't what royal transparency looks like. The audience, usually primed for laughs, fell silent. In just a few minutes, Stewart broke down what millions were trying to make sense of in real time. Meghan's closeness to Prince Andrew wasn't portrayed as a scandal, it was framed as a moment that pulled back the curtain, a moment that felt like a breach of trust. For years, Meghan had presented herself as a voice for accountability, justice, and social awareness. She had spoken out against the royal institution, called for safe spaces, and criticized the very kind of elite associations this footage quietly exposed.
You know, does Harry, he looks sad. He was desperate in that interview he gave a month or so ago to the BBC. Desperately sad, desperately lost. A man lost in America with no direction home, not talking to his dad. So you think, well, What is he going to do? He's got to do something. But what is he...
And yet, there she was seemingly at ease on a yacht steeped in private power, sharing space with one of the most publicly disgraced royals still living. The irony wasn't missed by viewers, and it certainly wasn't missed by Jon Stewart. What made the moment land harder than any tabloid headline was its tone. Stewart wasn't mocking, he wasn't furious, he was composed, deliberate, and that restraint made his words feel heavier. This wasn't gossip or speculation. It wasn't built on anonymous sources or twisted narratives. It was rooted in real, verifiable footage delivered by a commentator known for avoiding personal digs. And that made the message hit even harder for Meghan especially.
In Africa, which was for mainly the kids of the victims of AIDS and HIV who'd lost their parents, but people are still suffering from it. So it did great work in Africa about that. He's had that bitter falling out with them. He's left that, he's quit that.
It was a kind of exposure Meghan hadn't faced before, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to spin. The segment didn't just stop at the footage, it pressed into the deeper layers. Jon Stewart highlighted that this wasn't merely about being seen with someone, it was about how those associations silently shape a public persona. You can pose for magazine covers, produce heartfelt documentaries, tell your truth, but you can't be photographed next to Prince Andrew on a yacht and expect the world to ignore what he represents. That one line so simple yet razor-sharp rippled across the internet. It was clipped, shared, turned into memes, and echoed across feeds from LA to London. Because as Stewart made clear, this wasn't just about one uncomfortable moment, it was about a breakdown in the story Meghan has so carefully built. For someone who made storytelling the foundation of her post-royal brand, this moment hit where it hurt most.
He doesn't, I think, shows we knew it, but what a weak man he is, that he won't come out and speak out against what's happened involving the African parks scandals, multiple scandals, to your point. What does he have? I mean, he loves his babies. I know that he loves his baby.
Meghan had long positioned herself as someone seeking healing and distance from compromised power structures, but the footage told a different story. It showed ease, not tension. Luxury, not resistance. Familiarity, not boundaries. And in that quiet contrast, her credibility began to crack. There's also a deeper layer that adds to the unease, one that lingers in the shadows. The royal will remain sealed, its contents unread and rumored to reveal key financial distributions. Its silence has only fueled speculation about Harry and Meghan's true financial independence. Some sources close to the family believe the couple expected a level of support that never materialized, leading them to seek out wealthy backers in unconventional, often opaque ways.
Sometimes he's out riding his bike and walking the dog. I'm sure that that's as fulfilling as you can get in 2 hours in a day. Hopefully he does find, what do you do for BetterUp? That's
the company that he allegedly gets like $1 million a year to not do.
That yacht scene may have been more than just a casual social event. It might have been a quiet move to build informal alliances and gain influence beyond the reach of royal oversight. But if that was the goal, it may have done more harm than good. In elite circles, reputation is everything. And now, with that footage surfacing and Jon Stewart's sharp commentary amplifying it, Meghan's most valuable asset, her public relatability, is on the line. The image of being misunderstood, mistreated, or unfairly portrayed no longer holds the same weight. The clip and the conversation around it have cut straight through that carefully maintained story.
Narrative.
About this anomaly, this increasing anomaly that is emerging. So Meghan is taking more and more to posting pictures.
What lingers now is a question no publicist can spin away. Who is Meghan when the cameras aren't watching? And through it all, she stayed silent. No interviews, no statements, no social media posts. It's a noticeable shift from her usual approach, where responses were often swift, polished, and strategically placed. This silence has created two conflicting perceptions. Either she doesn't know how to respond, or she's hoping the moment will fade on its own. But neither option inspires confidence. Jon Stewart, meanwhile, has already moved on. His show, known for cutting cultural commentary, rarely dwells on any one topic. And that's exactly what makes this hit feel so final. He didn't need to. Keep going, the point landed. And in media, sometimes the briefest moments leave the deepest marks. For Meghan, this wasn't just another PR hiccup. It was a reckoning one not delivered through tabloids or palace insiders, but through a satirical show watched by millions who, up until now, were still willing to believe in the version of her she worked so hard to present.